Goth is a mystery novel by Japanese author Otsuichi, published in 2002. It won the Honkaku Mystery Award from the Mystery Writers of Japan Club. The book was very popular in Japan, even being translated into European languages with English reviews online. Goth achieved decent success. This video is to review this novel. I'd like to state that I read the English translation, so I may not fully appreciate the original work. The title Goth is explained by the author in the afterword. Otsuichi says he was frequently exposed to Goth subculture as a youth, and his thinking was immersed in that Goth atmosphere. Later, when writing a novel with themes of murder and death, fitting the dark aesthetic of Goth culture, he titled his founding work in this genre accordingly. Goth has 6 main chapters: Goth, Wrist Cut, Dog, Twins, Grave, Voice, plus a side story, Molino's Souvenir Photo. The male and female leads are Kamiyama Izuki and Molino Yoru, high school students at the same school. Both are deeply interested in death, frequently investigating murder cases and even observing corpses, but never reporting to police or intervening, and not judging the morality of the killer's actions. Kamiyama tries to be social, well-adjusted and popular, while Molino is solitary, emotionless in demeanor and speech, with long black hair, pale skin, a mole under her eye, part of the Goth makeup, wearing an all-black uniform, appearing ghostly at first glance. The book recounts Kamiyama and Molino's repeated investigations in cases, uncovering unknown truths. 2 major aspects make Goth worth reading: the narrative technique and abnormal characters. The 6 main short stories are not told chronologically. By understanding the purposeful arrangement, the full story emerges. Some chapters are mostly recollections of Kamiyama investigating Molino's past, inserting past events within the present narrative timeline, creating 2 concurrent timelines in one stretch, though not too difficult to understand. Otsuichi clearly has mastery over this narrative style, enhancing the story's appeal. The narrative perspective also frequently shifts, told in first-person I perspective throughout. But across the 7 chapters, only about 2.5 have Kamiyama as narrator. The rest are narrated by killers or even non-human entities. In Voice, there are 2 simultaneous I narrators, requiring contextual clues to discern who is speaking. This enhances the reader's sense of mystery and curiosity about what will happen next. At times before a certain point, it may not be clear which I is the narrator, likely an intentional effect by the author. Since the perspective constantly changes, it allows for multidimensional depictions of the 2 leads. For example, when Kamiyama narrates, we see his inner world. When others narrate, we see the view of Kamiyama. Molino is never the narrator, but different chapters' narrators provide their perspectives on her, allowing the author to construct a multifaceted, complex portrayal through various viewpoints. From the reader's perspective, the shifting narrator technique can be further interpreted. Goth recounts Kamiyama and Molino's investigations into murder cases, the pursuit of truth. However, the story always comes from a limited, not omniscient perspective. Even if the truth seems fully revealed, space remains for the reader to ponder. Is this the whole truth of the case? How far can the pursuit of truth really go? The novel doesn't explore this, as Kamiyama and Molino's investigative abilities are depicted as superhuman, more skilled than the police in solving every case conclusively. Whether the author intended readers to reflect on the nature of truth is unclear, or perhaps not his primary aim. None of the main characters in the book are normal. Kamiyama and Molino are indifferent towards most death and suffering. and they even avoid intervening in others' murderous plans. They merely want to observe from the sidelines, not out of fear of trouble, but because of an extreme fascination with death that makes them eager for the grisly events to unfold. Most of the other killers are extremely obsessed with certain things, like observing hands, burying objects, or photographing corpses, which leads them to commit crimes. They can connect the origins of their obsessions to the later cruel acts, but whether such connections truly exist in the human mind is left for the readers to judge. The author also deliberately depicts normal upbringings and stable lives for Kamiyama, Molino, and some killers, making their harmful acts towards others seem even more depraved and senseless. The victims of the killers are often random, simply whoever or whatever the killers could access. So the victims do not seem careless or deserving, but simply unfortunate. This challenges most people's tendency to want explanations for evil acts and misfortunes. Otsuichi aims to present in the novel, there is no explanation, it is completely senseless. This can be seen as a double-edged sword. While it defies readers' expectations, a portion of readers may be unable to stomach such nauseating motives for the crimes and cruel methods, causing them to give up on the book entirely. From a purely literary perspective, unpredictability could be seen as a strength. Greek myths also depicted inexplicable misfortune, so it's not entirely original. But beyond that, it may simply come across as merely grotesque. Finally, a more noticeable flaw of the book is its length. As mentioned, Goth consists of 6 short stories as the main narrative, plus one side story. The novel deliberately creates narrative twists and a gripping plot. The story development is the core focus. However, the 7 short stories combined do not show significant progression in terms of perspective or overall story. They merely establish the 2 main characters who are fascinated by investigating death and recount various incidents surrounding them. Each short story concludes, then moves on to the next small story, in a format resembling a soap opera or daily drama. Omitting any one story would not greatly impede the overall plot of the book. In other words, after establishing the basic story framework, the author did not put much effort into extending and developing the story further. Postmodern literature views a novel's content as not the most important aspect, and many great literary works achieve high artistic merit not due to their storylines, but for Goth, aside from the plot, there does not seem to be anything particularly outstanding. Exploring the story content further may have only revealed that the author did not originally intend to write an epic novel. Producing around 280 pages is perhaps more suitable for today's market. Goth is suitable as a light novel for leisure reading. Viewed under an aesthetic microscope, it does not contain anything profoundly memorable, but the narrative is intriguing. The novel has been adapted into manga and film. Perhaps the high school setting, grotesque murder cases, and short story format are popular elements well suited for multimedia adaptations. Please comment if you have any ideas. You may also like, subscribe or share this video. Your action can spread the message. See you on the next video.